Hi everybody, welcome to another webinar. I'm here with Patrick.
Hey,
And
Adam.
hi, how you doing?
Hey, Q.
Very well, thanks. I'm
Awesome.
excited to talk about this one because I know it probably is going to affect everybody,
Mhm.
and I like having an impact. So here we are. Today we're going to talk about Indeed's pricing model change and what it means for you. Maybe you've seen the change already, maybe you haven't, or maybe this is the first that you've heard of it. We want to be able to share with you what you can expect and how it's going to affect you. And I want to say hello to everybody joining from across the world. We're going to start with just some greetings. If you are connecting with us from an interesting place, or your home, or anywhere, then please let us know where in the world you're joining from. And as I mentioned, this webinar is going to be about Indeed's pricing change. So Indeed is the biggest job board out there, and whilst you don't have to use them if you don't like the pricing change, they keep buying a lot of other job boards and expanding and growing, and that's where the candidates like to apply. I think they've probably built certainly the most well known in terms of the marketing side of things, and a very good candidate experience, which is why candidates flock there. And we we kind of have to use it because that's where the candidates are going. Everybody talks about being candidate centric and focusing on the candidate experience in recruiting. And I think when it comes to advertising, you need to be promoting yourself where candidates are spending time. So before we jump into it, I've got Patrick here, and Patrick's going to share a little bit more about who we are at Applichat Healthcare and what we do.
Sure. Well, you've already pointed out that healthcare recruitment is such a huge challenge across the board. Every role in every community is really difficult to fill nowadays, has been for a while. And looking at RNs alone, we know there's about 200,000 RN vacancies annually in the US, about 60,000 RNs needed in Canada. Travel nurses cost about $130,000 a year per RN to fill. So that's just not something that can be continued in organizations on a broad scale. And of course, another challenge is that most healthcare professionals are not actively looking for a new job. They're not looking at the job boards for new openings. Only a small percentage are. So employers need to get beyond the job hunters. They need to get in front of the right people so they can fill vacancies, provide better services to their patients, and save money on those huge travel expenses. So at Applichat, we try and do that by helping our clients reduce their agency fees and boost nurse headcount with our 3-step solution. And that includes sourcing passive candidates from outside of the job boards, screening every candidate to ensure they're qualified, and following up with every candidate to make sure that they stay engaged and excited about the opportunity with this new employer. That system has led to us placing over 250 permanent nurses last year in 24 US states and Canadian provinces. For example, we've helped our client McLaren Healthcare in Detroit to hire 50 permanent RNs so far. And if they had to fill those positions with travelers, that would cost them nearly $6.5 million annually. So big impact for them. So I invite everyone to visit my online business card. I'm putting that in the comment section and we'll put it on the screen here. Visit my online business card. You can connect with me there to find out more about how we do this, and you can access all of our free resources there as well. And it's on the slide as well with the QR code. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Patrick. Patrick will be monitoring the chat during this. So if you want to ask a question, then put it in there and he will respond to it, or we'll look at the questions at the end. I really want this to be interactive because this is affecting everyone out there. And your experience is something that could benefit a person sitting halfway across the country. You just have to share it. So please, if you have an experience of this, then put it in the chat and share it with your colleagues. In this presentation, we're kind of working with facts and opinions. So facts are what Indeed has said is going to be changed, press releases, and then whatever their representatives have said. And then the opinions are going to be coming from me on how you can work with the new pricing model. So I'm not a spokesperson for Indeed. I'm not advocating that you use them or don't use them. And we haven't had a long briefing on this. We're going off the research that we did through studying their press releases, speaking to the rep that we have over there. And anything beyond quotes will be an opinion from me. So I'm going to talk about how you can navigate the new pricing model, things to do and not to do, explain the change to your team, and then strategies to enhance the quality of candidates you receive and pay for. So this is taken from Indeed's site. PPA means pay per application, and CPC means cost per click. So with their old pricing model, you paid for every click that was made on the job post, even if those clicks didn't turn into a qualified application. So 100 clicks, you're paying for each and every click, even if they don't apply. And you put in a daily budget, which was the average amount you wanted to spend per day to promote the job. So this was a simple model. We just said spend this per day, and Indeed spended this per day. And however many candidates you got out of it was the number of applications you got. So how does that differ to the new pricing model? They started to roll it out in 2022, and we started to see our clients get it in February. So it's being gradually rolled out, and like with most things in a really large organization, they're doing lots of tests. So if for some reason they find that this isn't a great experience for them, a great experience for employers, it doesn't make sense financially, they might roll it back. That's why all of you might not have seen this. The new model is known as price per application. So instead of paying for each click, you pay for what they call quality applications from job seekers who meet deal breakers in your job posts. So the deal breakers are those key criteria that you put into Indeed that say that they must have a RN license in Massachusetts. What they're saying here is if someone misses that deal breaker, then you will pay for the candidate. So I'm going to get into a little bit more on this. I think the way they're presenting it is like follows. This is a hypothetical graph that I made, whereby you will get less overall applications because they're higher quality. So you'll have to review less people, and you'll still be focused on getting qualified applications, but the idea is that a higher percent are qualified. However, the cost will be cheaper because you're only working with qualified applications and only accepting to pay for qualified applications. There was a bit of a storm when they first started to roll this out. And I think we fell victim to this ourselves whenever we were trialing it because we wanted to become aware of it. So you can see here this example of a med-surg RN in Southern California for us. This was the first day of it, by the way, so don't judge, please, where the cost was like 3 to 4 times more. A lot of employers were experiencing this. This body shop technician left an angry review on Trustpilot, I think, Trustpilot, complaining that they keep charging you for applicants that aren't qualified and you pay 3 times more. So the key to remember here is in this model, you shouldn't be accepting every single candidate that applies and paying for them, which is what happened to us on the first day. There were some complaints that the communication around it could have been better, but it's important for us to understand what we're paying for. How the new model works, I'll jump back here, is you'll have your 10 applications, but it will offer you the chance to accept or reject them within 48 to 72 hours. And if you accept them, you pay for them. If you reject them, you don't. So you or your hiring managers or your recruitment team have the option to actually pay for that application or not pay. And the important thing here to remember is only pay for people that will be qualified, interested, and available based on their application. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your money. We were doing our research and we came across Chad and Cheese podcast. Highly recommend listening to that. They did an episode on this and quoted this lady, Angela Holbrook, who is a consultant. And as I mentioned, initially when that was rolled out, it looks like her client were spending money on unsuitable applications. So this is something that's really important. If you see this change in your Indeed profile to look out for, communicate to whoever's managing that they shouldn't accept every application comes in, that they should be vetting them before they pay for them. And I think another interesting point here is if you don't reject it within 48 to 72 hours, then you're going to pay for it. So it's automatically going to charge you. And especially when it comes to Monday morning, those applicants over the weekend that you haven't been able to review, you're going to need to review them and reject or accept them. Otherwise, like Angela's client here, $3,500 could go and be wasted on fruitless applications. So you need to review them within the time period specified by Indeed. So I know some of this can seem a little bit intimidating, especially when I show you the kind of mistakes, but really they are mistakes and teething problems. And Indeed, I wouldn't say it has a monopoly, but it's quite close to dominating the jobs market alongside ZipRecruiter. They're not going to roll out a model completely that scuppers their business or shoots themselves in the foot or loses their business from small employers who make up most of their clients, less bigger employers. So that's why it's important to educate yourself on this, speak to your representative if you have one, to understand how this works, which is what I'm going to get into now. So the discourse around this is you only pay for quality applications, and the key to getting this right is only paying for quality applications. So you need to change your mindset and the way you set up your Indeed job strategy to ensure that you're firstly getting qualified applications through the ads by making the deal breaker questions the actual deal breakers that your hiring managers have. And then also only paying for ones that are suitable. So we asked our rep, am I free to contact the candidate within the 72-hour period to gauge whether they're a good fit and reject if not? And we were told that's exactly how it will work. After 72 hours, if you do not accept or reject, you will automatically be charged for that candidate. So it's still, as you see here, will work once it's rolled out. It's still being rolled out. So there's a bit of ambiguity over questions like this. Like, can you contact them to ascertain if you should accept them and pay for them or not? But I think it's best to follow what your rep says or whatever you come across in terms of official releases on how best to work around this. We're still testing it out and we'll see how that works. Here are things to do and not to do when you're accepting candidates. So do read the application. And this is stuff that you should be sharing with your team because they're going to be the ones working on it. Read it and reread it. Do not accept it if they're unqualified, because you're throwing money down the drain. Whenever it comes to the deal breakers that you input into Indeed, make sure that it's not just, do you have 2 years experience as a nurse? Try and make it a little bit deeper than that. Think about what would be the hiring manager's deal breakers. Don't think, how can I meet a quota for submitting a certain amount of candidates, and accept people or set low bar deal breakers that would help you meet that quota, because you're going to be paying to meet the quota. You're paying for each application. You're not really paying to make hires. In the end of the day, you're focusing on meeting a quota. And make sure that they are accurate and up to date and appropriate for the position. Revisit your job description. So you want to attract the right applicants. So you want them to read the job ad and description and then think, that's me, and then apply. If your job descriptions are a little bit messy, or just read like a list of bullet points that they have to have, then you're less likely to attract the type of candidate you want and get those quality applications that would be worth paying for. We have a few other webinars on creating job advertisements that you might find useful in that point. And then make sure you have someone who can review them within 72 hours to 72 hours. Now, as I said, it's being rolled out, so maybe Indeed will change that. At least in the account that we're using, it's 72 hours, shared by our rep. If you don't do that, then you're going to pay for it, literally. So make sure that someone is reviewing and rejecting or accepting candidates within 3 days. The do nots are kind of the opposite of the do's. So don't accept and pay for every application like we did on the first day. Things have changed, and it doesn't make sense to do that. Don't forget to set accurate deal breaker questions, or take your eye off the numbers. So has your cost per qualified applicant gone up? Has it stayed the same? Has it dropped? You want to be keeping a really close eye on that. And one of the points Angela said was of contacting Indeed to be asked to switch back to a certain model. If you're going to follow that route, as she recommends trying, then you're going to want data to back it up. Based on what our rep said, we're going to continue testing out this feature, because we kind of buy in that if we're able to really judge if they're suitable or not, we cut down our sourcing team's workload and having to kind of muddle through a big group of candidates and then our recruiters and having to call a lot. And also, I think, like, if they're taking this business decision, it makes big business sense for them, and that's good for the customer, although we shall see, and that's why we're tracking the numbers. And then do not do nothing, because you're going to end up paying for those applications, living in the past, and time moves on. You have to move with the times. So they released a quote saying, referring to themselves in the third person, confident that Indeed's pay for results will bring the industry forward. They're quoting here about having fewer applications to review. So under this system, perhaps brace yourself to receive fewer applicants, and make sure whoever's tracking your KPIs is aware that that is a change that comes from Indeed, rather than you or the market or something else that is in your control and could reflect incorrectly on your performance. So the last point is, how do you go about explaining the change to your team? Well, you could send them this webinar. You could send them some of the press releases that Indeed have put out with a memo quoting new instructions that somebody needs to be allocated to check applications within 72 hours, that you need to update your deal breaker questions, you need to revisit the job descriptions. So, have a document which says, here's what's new, here's what needs to be done about it, or even set up a meeting to go over that. And that goes to the recruiters who would be working on your team. But then also sharing that with your boss if you're in a leadership position, because as I mentioned, they're going to question why applicant numbers have dropped or spend has gone up and down or changed a little bit. And the key part here is it's just about communicating what is going on so that everyone's on the same page and you don't get mistakes like Angela shared, or this angry review, or even ourselves on the first day. So we will keep an eye on this and share on my LinkedIn or the Applichat Healthcare LinkedIn about any updates to this that will be pertinent to you. And just if you feel a little bit stressed out about this, remember, like I said, that I don't think they would rule out completely a change that is going to lose them users. So keep in communication with your peers and your rep and follow the news so that you can stay on top of any change that happens. I'm going to stop sharing and jump over to Patrick again. If anybody has any questions, please put them in.
Yeah, let us know if you have comments, questions. I'd be curious to hear people's feedback on their own experience, because I saw a lot of comments online over the last couple of months, or whenever it was that they indeed started rolling this out, that a lot of organizations got caught in the same situation that you described, Adam, where when it first was rolled out, they weren't quite expecting it and started paying more. So whether the communication was there or could have been better, maybe people missed some of it. And I think a lot of people did learn a little bit the hard way, at least at the beginning. So this is helpful what you're sharing today for sure for people, I think. So, but yeah, curious how that is for other folks, but that's what I've been seeing online. I did hear from our Healthcare Recruitment Leaders Exchange that people have been, over the last few months, even before this, trying to move a little more budget over to Indeed. So I'll be curious. I'm meeting with them tomorrow. I'll be curious to ask them their experience with this, the new rollout of the Indeed's pricing model. So we'll do that tomorrow. So the Healthcare Recruitment Leaders Exchange is our group of directors and higher level managers in healthcare in the US and Canada. And we have 53 people signed up for that group. Our third call will be tomorrow. The link that I posted in the comments, if you go to that, you'll find a link to the Healthcare Recruitment Leaders Exchange, so you can sign up there. And at that page, you can also find the link to our newsletters, our other webinars, our Facebook group. We had a few people sign up from this webinar today already into the Facebook group, so feel free to join us over there as well. So hopefully we'll see more people in those groups.
Yeah. See, Will Wilson from, in San Diego said he's reduced his costs since the change. And he goes over all the apps to make sure he doesn't get charged. I think it does have the potential to reduce costs if you're diligent about checking those candidates, like Will is. Especially if, like our rep suggested, you can reach out to them and see if they're actually responsive. Like, a lot of candidates, you put them in the ATS, but they wouldn't get back to you. If you can do that, then you will only be paying for the ones that are qualified.
And Will points out he's decided to do that on Saturday, so it's too bad he has to do it on Saturday. But that Monday morning thing is a bit of that's a trick for people to get used to. That they really need to check what came in over the weekend and review quickly, or review on Saturday like Will's doing. So that's one.
That's a business idea, Patrick. We could offer that Saturday and Sunday Indeed checks.
Let's do it. People can let us know if they're interested.
Yeah, let us know if that's of interest. I've put in 2 podcasts. Maybe that isn't going to go well, that link. I'm going to put in a couple of podcasts that I listen to and that you could follow on this. One's collegerecruiter.com with Stephen Rothberg, and one is the Chat and Cheese podcast, which are both very useful for this. We are going to stay online. Patrick, could you put your Zoom link in, please?
Sure.
If anybody would like to discuss this change or discuss your organization's needs, then we'll be in the Zoom and there to talk you through things. But if we don't see you in there, then we'll see you at our next webinar. I'm just going to pull up the date. We're really excited about this one because we have a special guest from Brazen, who are a virtual hiring event stroke online interview platform. And Drew Heppel from Brazen will be talking to us all about how to do online hiring events in the best possible way. Before we go, Mary Hernandez has another question. Change we're actually being forced into is pay per apply start. Do you have any info on this? I don't currently, no, I haven't seen that yet. I will ask our rep for you, Mary, because that might be around the corner for us, you never know, and get back to you. But I think this shows that they are trying out a lot of things, different people, and that one seems like more similar to the cost per click model, where you don't really have control over accepting or rejecting. So I'll try and find out more about that for you and find you on LinkedIn, get back to you on that. So that's about it. If you want to find the recording for this, then just go on to our YouTube, or we also have a link for all our webinar recordings, and you can catch that. We also turn them into newsletters, so if you look at our LinkedIn, you'll see various newsletters on the highlights of our webinars. I'll put into the chat the link if you want to watch more of our webinars or sign up to receive notifications whenever new ones come out. So that's about it for this one. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you in the Zoom if you want to have a chat about anything.
We'll be over there momentarily. Yep. Thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.